E. Cut that E exactly in half. 12.
Oh, yeah.
Just cut it in half. Stop it in half. Cut 12. What pitch is that? E. Octave higher. Cut that in half. What do you get? You can't do it. If you could, what would you get? E. If you take an open string, cut it in half, Pythagoras said you get a higher octave. What if you cut it somewhere else? Not exactly in half. You get different pitches. Let's say you cut it a fifth of the way down, you're going to get the fourth and the third and the seventh and so on. So depending on all he's doing when he plays, all the violinist or cellist is doing, all you're doing is you're taking your grouped monochords and stopping those according to Pythagoras' theories about all of this in various places and getting different pitches. And they all have a mathematical ratio to it. I think your book tells you about this. Yes? No? All right, read up on it. I won't go into it because of that. All right? And it's really not important. I won't ask you on an exam about that, but know where it comes from. Part of all of this, play that E again. Play the octave. There are acoustical properties in play here as well. Yes? It's called the overtone series. Greeks understood the overtone series. What is the overtone series? Anyone? Somebody? Andrew, what's the overtone series?
An overtone series is when you play a particular note, you have the wavelength that's also doubled, and therefore you hear a series of octaves, and after that fifths, and after that fourths, if I'm not mistaken, they combine to create more than the basic core sound.
What he's saying in a somewhat complicated fashion is that when you play your E, again, you're not just hearing one E. You're hearing a whole bunch of pitches, right? You're not hearing a pure sound. Only an electronic instrument called white noise can do that, right? Right? It's especially true on bass because we got so much more overtones. Yeah? I'll prove that to you. When you play a pitch, you're hearing a series of overtones. There is a very set number of pitches in the overtone series. The first note you hear is the fundamental. Play the E. The first overtone your ear hears is the octave above it. The next pitch your ear hears is a fifth above that, a G, not E, B, above that. Okay? It's out of tune. Yes, it is supposed to be out of tune.
So that's right.
All right? And this overtone series is very large. You can't get it, okay, because it's so large. The human ear doesn't hear all of it. Why, when he plays that E, are you hearing that pitch is relatively high as compared to your top string, which is, play your bottom string. Why are you hearing that as low as opposed to the E, which is high?
Good question.
Yeah, it is. You ever thought about it? Why do you hear high and low? What's the difference? The strings should all be the same.
The vibrations. The vibrations of the strings.
Yeah, even more basic than that.
Speed.
Yeah, even more basic than that.
Frequency?
You're all saying the same thing. You'll do this on your term papers too. And I'll go repetitive. What are you hearing when you play that low pitch as opposed to that high pitch? Play the low, play the high. Andrew, what are you hearing?
More
overtones.
Oh.
That's all you're hearing. Low C. Yeah, a whole bunch of overtones. And everything in between. And even more. If you're a dog, you're hearing it up here somewhere. If you're a whale, you're hearing it down there somewhere. The outer pitches are always the perfect form. Okay. You put various tetrachords together, usually 3 of them, to come up with a larger unit that we would think of as a scale. I don't want to go into it. It's way too complicated. Read it in your book. It won't be on a test, but know that that is, for the most part, the basis of where we start getting our ideas about what is now Western tonal theory. Okay? The Greeks did have the concept of modes. Now, Dr. Muniz, I know you talked about modes quite a bit. Yes? What is a mode? What's a mode? Charles, what's a mode? No. Pretty close.
Collection of pitches.
Are you referring to the church modes?
No.
Oh.
It's a mode. Jazz players have modes, don't they? The church mode, you've got ancient Greek mode. It's a mode. What's the generic thing here? They all have something in common. Okay. Again? No, not necessarily seven. Don't think half steps and whole steps. Think ancient Greeks, man. You can have more than that.
Steps.
What's the big thing you first have to have? And which have to be the same pitch. An octave. Yeah, that's the big characteristic. Okay, what's the secondary characteristic? Say again? No, even more basic than that. That is true later on down definition chain, if you will. What's more basic than that? We've defined the outer limits of the mode. That's a big one. Cut that mode in half in some fashion and fill it in with other pitches along the way. What are the intervals between those pitches? Depends on the mode, right? Doesn't have to be half steps necessarily. Between 2 and 3 and 3 and 4. It could be a whole step in one mode, half step in another mode between 2 and 3 and 3 and 4. Yes? Come up here, I'll show you. Come here. Pitches from one octave to another. Okay? Dorian mode, you learned this from Dr. Muniz, right? What's it start on? D. Watch the arrangement of whole steps and half steps. 2 and 1 and 2 is a whole step. 2 and 3 is a half step. 3 and 4. 5 and 6. That's what it sounds like. Right? Has a particular sound based on the series of whole steps and half steps. Next mode, Phrygian, is on what? E. Is the pattern the same? Which doesn't sound anything like. Which doesn't sound anything like Lydian. Starts on. I'm sorry. I just showed you 4 different modes. They all have one common characteristic. They begin on a pitch and end on the same pitch and octave higher. The pattern in between is differently. And in our system of church modes in ancient medieval times, they were based on half steps. In Greek times, there'd be quarter steps in there, which means if you had a quarter step here, you got to have more than a half step in your next one, right, to make up for the difference, right? Because it's all based on the acoustics of 1, 4, 5, 1, right? And those different vibration patterns. All right, how many modes do we have today? Do we have modes today? Sarah, we got modes today? We got modes today?
I think so.
Well,
I hope so.
take a more definite
Yes.
stab at it. What are they?
But that I can't answer.
Do we?
We rarely use any, just major and minor.
Thank you. Major and minor. Sorry. I started on the same pitch. C. What did I do in between? I changed the series of whole steps and half steps. We have 3 forms in the minor. What are they?
Natural, melodic, and harmonic.
Tell Dr. Muniz you remember. All right? Okay? We still have the concept of modes. Something begins here and ends there, an octave higher. And what we do in between can vary. This concept is something relatively new in Western musical thought. If you look at Mozart, for instance, as late as Mozart, his manuscripts for piano music, for instance, for those sonatas, he didn't write piano sonata in C major as the title, or piano sonata in C minor as the title. He wrote piano sonata in C. Why? You ever heard Mozart piano music that does this? And then all of a sudden, all he does is move a finger and change modes from major to minor. You hear it all the time in classical music, don't you? You learn in theory, you can't do that. The composers don't worry about theory. They do it. In his mind, he has a palette of pitches that he's painting this musical composition with. That palette is covered with C-ness. We got C, we got D, we got E, E flat up there too. You know, that's that little shade up there I sometimes use. I got F, I got G, I got A. Oh, I like that A flat shade too. That's a little bit different shade of blue. I use that not often, but in his mind it wasn't C major and C minor. It was C-ness or D-ness or F sharpness. Yes? So as you go through your studies in music and you hear phrases like, Bach never did that. Bach did everything he wanted to do. He didn't worry about somebody's theory textbook. Not to say that what Dr. Moniz is teaching you is wrong by any stretch of the imagination, but it's a very flexible system. Regardless of the fact that we have these half steps we have to use, and we have to end where we began, yeah? It's still a very flexible system because of the way good composers manipulate their material. Okay? Bye.